Today we're taking a closer look at the semiconductor industry, one of my favorite companies, Taiwan Semiconductor, and a very important company actually for the world and the semiconductor market, recently reported earnings. And I want to say I'm pretty impressed with the earnings, and I do believe this is good news for the market. So in today's episode, what I want to do is just take a closer look at those earnings report and just share my overall thoughts. If this is your first time here, make sure to hit the thumbs up. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. Check out the pinned comment for a lot of great links, my tech channel, and also my Discord channel. So let's get started.
I do want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and make sure to check out fool.com/Jose to get the top 10 stocks to buy right now.
If we take a closer look at earnings, they did report their second quarter of 2022, and total revenue was $18.16 billion, up 36.6% year over year, and it was actually up 3.4% quarter over quarter. We can see gross margins were also up quarter over quarter and year over year, up to 59.1. Operating margins and net profit margins were also up quarter over quarter and year over year. One of the reasons for the growth in these margins could possibly be that this company has been increasing its prices over time. During the earnings call, management did mention that current macroeconomics headwinds will be affecting margins somewhat in the short term. I do want to take a closer look at this. They do break down their revenue by technology, and we can see their smaller nodes, 7 nanometers and 5 nanometer nodes, make out roughly 51% of total revenue this quarter, and then you have the 16 nanometer making 14%. And if you have been following the channel, you might have watched the video where I talked about how kind of technology below the 20 nanometer is still pretty strong in demand, and the ones above the 20 nanometers are seeing a lot of kind of headwinds from consumer spending. So it's good to see a good portion of that revenue for TSM actually comes below the 20 nanometer nodes. Now, if we take a closer look at revenue by platforms, this excites me a lot. Right now, we see high performance computing is 43% of total revenue and smartphone is 38%. High performance was up 13% quarter over quarter. We can see the three major growth markets right now are high performance, Internet of Things, and the automotive markets, all up double digits year on quarter over quarter. The other markets are up quarter over quarter, but in the mid to low single digits. In the press release, the CFO of TSMC mentioned that the second quarter business was supported by HPC, IoT, and automotive related demand. Just like we saw, those are the markets with stronger growth. And kind of moving into the third quarter of 2022, they expect the business to kind of be supported by their leading demand of the 5 nanometer and 7 nanometer technologies. The 5 nanometer and 7 nanometer technologies are definitely important, especially for HPC. So I do believe we are going to continue to see strong growth in the HPC market. There are a few things to kind of worry about. Management did mention that for the second half of this year and for maybe the first half of 2023, they are seeing kind of inventory changes happening with some of their customers. So they might be seeing a weakness in kind of the consumer market, but management is saying that they're kind of switching in their lines. So if maybe some of those lines in some of their manufacturing plants were used for consumer products, they are now shifting those lines to more the automotive products, to the IoT products, or to the HPC products, so they can kind of continue with this kind of strong growth over time. So while they do expect maybe some shift around in the upcoming quarters, they are still very, very bullish in the long-term trends. Another thing I do want to mention is this company is super positive in free cash flow. We can see it is up quarter over quarter and up year over year. They do mention that CapEx is not going to be as high as they previously expected. Their previous guidance was somewhere around 40 to 44 billion for this year. Now they're saying it's going to be closer to the 40 billion range in the lower end guidance, because the equipment companies, the companies that they purchase their equipment from, are seeing kind of a delay in shipments because of overall chip shortage that they are seeing. And for that reason, some of the CapEx is going to be pushed on to later next year. Now, if we take a closer look at guidance for the third quarter, they believe revenue will be somewhere between $19.8 billion to $20.6. And this is a huge growth compared to same time last year. Same time last year was roughly $14.88 billion. So this represents over over a 30% year-over-year growth. They do expect their gross profit margins to be somewhere between 57.5 and 59.5, and operating profit margins to be somewhere between 47 and 49. That is kind of similar to where the company's margins were this quarter, but remember, macroeconomics are definitely changing things around right now, so expect maybe a little bit more of a push in the fourth quarter of 2022. So this overall earnings kind of cooled me down a little bit. Even though I am bullish in the long terms of semiconductor companies, I did think in the short term of things we were going to see a little bit more pain than we're seeing right now. And even though the company did mention that there might be some changes due to kind of consumer inventories, at the moment it doesn't seem like those challenges are truly impactful for the long term of things, especially for companies that have more than one kind of customers. If your only customers are consumer based, then yes, as a semiconductor company you should be worried. But if your customer also depends on enterprise like cloud, data centers, and servers, then I believe those semiconductor companies might see a bit of a pushback, but they do have healthy trends following them at the moment. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Take care, have a good day, and see you next time.